So the first thing I want to talk about with today's piece is that the definitive answer of what video I made for today was decided by my followers over on Instagram. Now, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I am fairly active over there, and I do a lot of polls in the stories where, as in this example, I will have people decide between an acrylic painting and a cheap art supply challenge. I'm worldofimmensum over there, as well as on pretty much any other social media website. I've been trying to be a little more active on Twitter as well. However, if any of you are interested in a cheap art supply challenge, I will be doing that in the near future. I've actually recorded myself testing out the supplies, and I just have to do my final piece. However, looking a little more closely at today's piece, acrylics are something that I haven't really worked with in a long time. And when I say a long time, I do mean prior to a couple of weeks ago. It was not for a very long time, because I just did an acrylic painting fairly recently, but I didn't record it. But the thing I wanted to really focus on with this piece in particular was the concept of stretching proportions. And this is something I've really been experimenting with lately. I've been working in my sketchbook a lot ever since Inktober ended and NaNoWriMo began, and I suddenly became very busy with writing. And I still wanted to draw and keep up with my art, but I didn't want to commit to the amount of work I was creating during Inktober. And the interesting thing about sketchbooks is they do allow you to play and grow and evolve in a much less pressure environment. So if I'm working on a sketchbook page, I'm a little more free, and I don't feel quite as worried about making very tiny eyes placed very far apart or any other proportions I might want to mess with. In this piece particular, I gave this girl a fairly long neck, and her neck is also more narrow than it should be. Her eyes are also a little out of proportion, and I just generally tried to emphasize the shape of her body. I also have been studying noses, so I've been trying to incorporate those studies into my more finished pieces. So I tried to paint her nose a little more realistically. Since I haven't worked with acrylics in so long, it was a little weird trying to manipulate the medium in the way that I wanted to. Something I found myself doing with this piece was working in fairly thin layers. If I had put on a lot more of the medium, if I had used a lot more paint, it would have smoothed the texture out a little bit. However, with this piece in particular, I wanted to do the opposite of that. I really wanted to emphasize the natural texture of the canvas and highlight it. As a result of this proportion stretching and emphasizing the texture of the canvas, the piece is not particularly realistic, and I wasn't looking for it to be. However, something I do find interesting is that if you look at this finished piece in comparison to the last acrylic painting that I did just a few weeks ago, the color palettes are extremely similar. Both girls have blue hair that's a little on the shorter side, though this piece was definitely squished a little bit on purpose. And both have kind of an orangey pink background, even though this one is much more vibrant and neon than the previous one. However, the thing that I noticed is that despite these similarities in the color schemes, they look completely different. And this is due primarily, I believe, to the stretched proportions. It's interesting because I feel as though I'm in a place with my art where I'm not quite sure what my style is. This is a subject I would like to expand on at a later time, because so many new artists are interested in finding their art style. But I'm not sure that it is as big of a deal or even as black and white as people make it out to be. because for a long while there, I thought I had found my style. You know, I was very happy with where I was with my artwork. Of course, there were little things that I wanted to fix and improve and just generally change, but I was happy. However, as I started to work towards those things that I wanted to improve about my artwork, the things that I was interested in developing further, for example, the way that I draw noses, the more I experimented with those and tried new ways of doing the things I wasn't quite happy with, the more I see my style start to develop. And this is a big thing. I think it's a realization that a style is not one thing. I personally don't think you ever find your art style, and that it's constantly evolving and constantly changing, even in very subtle, minute ways. And like I said, I would like to talk about this in a different video, one that is solely focused on that idea. Maybe it will be a redraw video or something that emphasizes the idea of art style and how it changes over time. However, looking at this finished acrylic piece, I am very happy with it. I'll be completely honest, when I went into it, I wasn't really sure what I was going to be drawing. I thought that I'd just draw a portrait because that's what I'm good at, and what better way to introduce yourself or reintroduce yourself to a medium than by using a subject that you already know. And since I did have so much fun with this, it definitely reminded me of working with oils, though the mediums are nowhere near similar. It really makes me want to do more paintings like this. Perhaps bigger and more complicated and with more details, both in acrylic and oils. I don't know if this will be a transition or anything like that. I think I will still be using watercolors and inks because I do enjoy those mediums so much. But I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see a few more videos of this nature in the future. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little chat. I'm sorry if I was a little bit all over the place. I'm not quite used to recording videos yet. I took a little bit of a break after Inktober since I was so exhausted, and I'm slowly but surely getting back into it. Also, if you're interested in seeing a main channel video that I have finally uploaded, I will leave a link to it in the description. I'm really excited about this one. It's kind of in honor of NaNoWriMo, kind of poking fun at myself, which is what I do best. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you want, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.